Guam Police Department, Chief Stephen Ignacio, and he's being joined by the spokesperson for the police department, Sergeant Paul Tapao. Good morning, Chief. Good morning, Sarge.
Hey, Alfred, good morning.
Half a day. We have the chief on here?
Yeah.
Good morning, Chief. Long time no see. I think you're here somewhere, and I don't see you yet.
He's got to unmute his camera.
Oh, you have to unmute your camera, Chief.
There we go.
Yay.
Oh, wait, no.
Wait, that's not the chief. Sorry.
That's me.
That's not the chief either, Jace. So let's just go ahead and start, Paul, while we wait for the chief to unmute his camera. We brought you on because we got the news that you guys have a new police cycle going through. Is that correct?
Yes.
There's
Yes.
the chief.
All right, there he is.
There's my chief.
Morning, Chief.
Morning, sir.
Got the top gun.
So
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right, let's just take it over to Chief. Sarge, no offense, Sarge, but we want to hear Chief. So, Chief, what can you tell us about the latest police cycle?
So the latest police cycle started last week, Friday. We have 23 brand new recruits on board, and they're going through in processing right now. And we'll be holding them until the GCC is ready to start. And I believe we're set to start in sometime late October is the official start date for first day of class.
Chief, so I'm thinking with the COVID and, the social distancing and all that stuff, what have you guys had to do and how's this cycle been different because of those measures that we have to adhere to?
Everything is different about this cycle. I mean, we brought these recruits on board during, the pandemic, and that's very different about it. Of course, Chris, all those considerations about social distancing, this possible spread of the virus, and what happens to the class as a whole when, one person becomes positive. There's a whole bunch of considerations that we have to look into. And so, that was always one of the challenges we had as we moved forward with the discussions with the Guam Community College. I'd like to thank Dr. Mary Okada, Mr. Pete Roberto, and Mr. Joy Munoz, for working with us and alongside with us to try and figure this out because this is definitely new and different. And, we just have to keep working through it and trying to figure it out and make sure that we make it happen because, even as this pandemic goes on, we understand that there's still a shortage of police officers. And we have to figure it out and move forward and hire people and bring them on board. Because it's the commitment of the governor, lieutenant governor, to put more people on the more officers out on the street, and we're working towards that commitment. And the commitment is just keeping the community safe.
Right.
So there was a lot of considerations about where to put them, where to house them, and should they be at home, should they be online, and I had to make sure that they understood my position because I advocated that we bring them into a classroom setting. If they could not do it on their campus, then I would try and figure out how to do that on our GPD facility. So we have a training room at Hakabultan, and for prior to this cycle, it was a pretty decent sized training room. But over the weekend we worked with the landlord because we're leasing the building, and we're able to expand that classroom, that conference room, and make it into a bigger classroom. So I believe that the classroom now, I haven't seen it yet, I'll be seeing it this afternoon, is big enough to accommodate the 23 recruits in a safe environment, understanding things like social distancing and, the other precautions that are in place, washing your hands or sanitizing and wearing of masks. These recruits wear their masks all day, every day, and in the classroom setting especially. We monitor them when they come in. We ask the questions just like when you go visit any other place. Do you have any symptoms? Do you have a fever? We also check their temperature. So we have all those safeguards in place, but nothing is 100%.
Right.
And but we continue to institute those mitigation measures.
Chief, I'm just wondering because seeing B-roll that we have from previous cycles, sometimes there's how to handle the suspect, how to cuff them, how to do all those like close quarters types of things that are done within 6 feet, right? Sometimes body to body, right? How are we addressing those kind of things? And then I guess since we have to do all this COVID stuff, is there any part of the cycle that has totally changed because of these protocols that we have to do?
So we're not tracking any major changes again to the curriculum or the instruction. I do understand those concerns, and that's a big concern. How do we teach handcuffing, because you cannot handcuff a person from 6 feet away, right? You can't do a 6 feet handcuff. It's unrealistic. Just like the self-defense course, you can't teach people self-defense from 6 feet away because it involves physical contact.
Right.
But Chris and Serena, we're not there yet. Like I said, the cycle starts in October. So, of course, we'll put the academic portions first, which is the textbook learning stuff in the front end. And as we move towards, I'm sure this will carry us into next year, January, February, March, for those courses that involve physical contact. And I think by then, I think the nation and the community as a whole is expecting that we should have, some kind of maybe a vaccine in place by that time. That the president has been touting this information of a vaccine by November. And, we continue to move forward. And again, it's one of those things where we address when we get there, because we don't have a clear-cut answer at this point.
Right on.
We just continue to push forward because we need to push forward and get there and deal with it when we get there.
So no pass on PT. Oh, wow. So when you get there, Chris is like, yeah, I'm going to sign up. I want to do the marching and stuff.
I don't know, Chief. I know some cops who could handcuff somebody with just their eyes.
Chief, you had mentioned something about the recruits. You guys are trying to make some decisions about whether they're going to be staying together or at home. Are they? What did you mean by that?
So initially during the discussions with the GCC, they were saying that we needed to do this online distance learning with the recruits at home. Again, my concern with that is that although they're students for GCC because they're registered and they're taking GCC taught classes, the other consideration on my part as the chief is that these are GPD employees. They're being paid to go to school. They're being paid to attend class. So, my concern is that should they be at home in that environment, or, for some unknown reason, they decide to get in a car, drive around while they're online in class, and they get into a crash and they get hurt, there's the workman's comp issues that have to be addressed. And so, having them in a classroom, seem to be a way that we can do this. Again, we continue to, it's early on. We're continuing to evaluate this. And if we need to move them to a online at-home platform, then, we're definitely open to that. We're still working through these issues with the Guam Community College on what would be the better model, because I don't think there's really a best model anywhere that we can really truly implement.
Right.
We just have to look at better alternatives as we move forward.
Do you have any women in the cycle?
Yes.
Do I have any women? Yes, I have 2 women in this cycle, and I have 2 brothers, and I have 4 of them. So we have 2 brothers who are the sons of a former retired police officer, and I have a female police officer who's the daughter of a former police officer, and I have the son of a police officer who's still working for the Guam Police Department. And so some diversity in this class.
Wow.
And I believe I have 1 Ponapean.
Nice.
We have 3 FSM citizens,
we have 3, okay.
chief in the department. We have 1 Chuki,
Awesome.
1 Kushayan, and a Palawan. So like Chief had mentioned, we're diversifying our workforce with our officers that are going to be out in the streets, and we're going to continue to work towards that. So really excited for this 11th cycle.
Right. Let's say if we could just touch on that when they talk about diversity and the police community kind of mirroring what we see out here in the regular community. How key is it, Chief, when you have these officers who are, FSM citizens, doing what they can to become men and women in blue.
Okay.
So-
So we've always wanted to be a diverse police department. Make sure that we represent all the different sectors of the community. And so we've always encouraged people. I mean, myself, Sergeant Paul Tapao, Major Manny Chong, and some of the other staff officers, in dealing with the community, we've been called in to speak at different classes at the university, at the community college, and we find diverse people in the students, and so we always encourage them to come and join the Guam Police Department. I think our ultimate goal at this point in bringing diversity is a female Chukis officer, and I found one female who has expressed strong interest in the Guam Police Department. Unfortunately, she goes, Chief, I'm waiting to graduate from GCC first.
Nice.
So I'm keeping tabs on her, and I still follow up with her and tell her I really want you on board, and I think that'll really help to round out our diversity
Nice.
Alright. Well, we're gonna have
as we
to.
move forward.
We're gonna be moving on in our Zoom room, but I wanted to give you guys a last word, Chief. Any final message to the community?
Yes, Sabrina, Chris, thank you very much for having me on board today. Thank you to the Governor, Lieutenant Governor, for supporting the Guam Police Department and continuing to grow our police force. And to the community, the Guam Police Department is here for you. We continue to do our part to help keep the community safe. We've increased the number of patrol officers on the road. We continue to bring in the needed equipment to get these officers out there to better serve you. And of course, last of all, stay home, and if you can't stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank
you, Sarge.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. You heard
Alright.
it there.
Yeah.
Stay home.
Stay home. If you can't stay
Stay
home,
home, guys.
stay home.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you, Chief.